What's up, everybody? Welcome to my Christmas 2020 special, which is just Q&A. I haven't done a Q&A stream in a very long-ass time. So yeah, it's been a while since I have done it. And so yeah, here I am. And happy to be here. Merry Christmas, folks. And I hope celebrating Yule has been good for you. It's so interesting. I watched Bride of Ancient Magus, the anime, just before I read the book Insurgents, which changed me a lot. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, not entirely sure about celebrating Christmas in the traditional way anymore. So yeah. Alright, so John Friesen, I would like to address that. John Friesen says, so the 16 personalities type me as INFJ, but your website type me as INTP. So just so you guys know, when you're taking the Discover personality test at csjoseph.life/discover, it helps if you read the instructions. But no one reads instructions, so I'm just going to give you like a tip on how to get through the test. Choose the top, like there's like 9 total questions. Only answer the questions that you know for sure are you first. Like choose like 4 or 5 questions that you know for sure is you. Answer those first, and then allow the test to take away all of your other answers, and that increases accuracy. The new interface, however, that problem should be solved to make it a lot easier to use. One thing at a time, though. So yeah. Who is my favorite philosopher? Gosh, it's Pythagoras, Socrates, and Diogenes for sure, I would say. But I also really like Bruce Lee as well. Favorite Christmas movie? Definitely It's a Wonderful Life, because George Bailey's wife is like the ideal woman. And it's nice to see that in a movie. So, another random show. Cool. Yeah, thanks for showing up, Helen. Not a single piece of Christmas decor. No. I just show up. That's good enough. You know. Oh, the winter solstice. Yeah, well, the age of Aquarius has begun as of the solstice. The age of Pisces is over. So all those new age people out there who've been telling us for 100 years that the new age is coming, well, it's finally here. Congratulations, I guess. But yeah. Creed from Office. I don't know what that means. Like, I literally don't know what that means. What color are your eyes? Very dark brown. So yeah. For self-development, do affiliative people need to be more pragmatic? Yes, of course they do. Do pragmatic people need to be more affiliative? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are we your wolf pack, Chase? I don't think so. I'm sure you belong to somebody else. I'm just getting this thing started. But there will come a time when someone will replace me and take over the movement and go all the way with it. I'm just temporary, right? Getting things started, because I'm a starter type. But the finisher is coming. Listen to him when he comes. Mbti type me as INFJ because of this channel. Okay. Maybe get another person. Okay. Favorite fictional character? Gosh, that's a tough one. What is my favorite fictional character? I'd have to say it's Klaus Michelson from the originals, for sure. I think it is Klaus Michelson from the originals. Yeah, I think it is. It was also an ENTP character, so I guess I got two answers for, or one answer for two questions. Chase, do you know Bartos type? Yeah, he's an ESTP. Not sure if I'm an INTJ or an ISTJ. Take the test. What type is Kim Kardashian? She's an ISFP. What is George Bailey's wife's name? It's Mary. What do you think about Alan Watts? Why do you guys always ask me about Alan Watts? He's an INFP. He's pretty cool. I like Alan Watts. Yes, 2021 is definitely going to knock your socks off. Oh, yeah. Are we doing life purpose of ESTP soon? Yes, we are. I'm hoping to actually have that done before the end of the year. So, I've got a lot of videos to film, got a lot of paperwork to fill out. So, I don't know anything about Floyd Mayweather. I'd actually have to like care about him enough to like figure that out. Chase's favorite fictional character is himself, I guess, technically. What nurture-related reasons could an ESTJ be better fit for an INFJ than an ENTP? I literally don't know what that. Okay, 144, please ask that in a different way. How are you doing, Chase? Still hurting. What makes George Bailey's wife the ideal woman? Because she is everything that a feminist woman is not, basically. Alright, so Ismail, as INTJ, how can I stop procrastination and start a business idea? If possible, few tips that will get me out of this vicious cycle. Okay, so you need to read Lean Startup by Eric Ries immediately. You also need to figure out other people who have been successful doing the business that you're planning on doing and do what they do, essentially. I do read and have read C.S. Lewis's work all the way up. I didn't read The Silver Chair. Maybe I did. But all the way up from The Magician's Nephew to The Last Battle. And then did he do Out of the Silent Planet? Or was that Piers Anthony or I also did Mere Christianity, which I heavily enjoyed. Although I disagree with C.S. Lewis on many situations. What type is Peter? Peter is an INFP. Peter is an INFP in Heroes. And I think Siler is an ENTP-focused INTJ. Even though Zachary Quinto is an ENTP himself. Hello, Tanya. Any advice on how to talk to people without being super abstract? No, not really. It's kind of hard to like change that. Why do you discredit Peter from the Bible? What is controversial things regarding what he says? I don't discredit Peter. I discredit Paul, not Peter. How fast do you read, Chase? I don't know. I just read. I don't know if... Although my INFJ mentor told me that he thinks that I read a lot, like really quickly. He's never met anyone that can absorb information faster than me, but I don't know if that's legit. Do ENTPs hold grudges? Absolutely we do. Do they forgive? Absolutely we do. We do forgive, and we definitely hold grudges. Oh, so we did Out of the Silent Planet. That was a great book. Do you think INFPs have more supernatural experience than INFJs, or is that pure hallucinations? No, I do think they actually do have more supernatural experience. But their SE trickster inhibits them from being able to tell what's real versus what isn't. Which, then they just don't even know if they should say something or not. How do you manage unwanted and unsolicited attention as an ENTP? Oh, by providing unwanted and unsolicited attention to other people. That's how I do it. Are there episodes about fear for all the types? Uh, kind of. They're more of like the little, gosh, they're like the CHJ responds ones. What should INFJs focus on instead when trying to stop thinking that performance equals loyalty? They should perform well so that they could prove to themselves that they were better than the day they were before, basically. Oh yeah, screw tape letters, yeah. Andrus. Hello, Andrus. Have you watched The Rising of the Shield Hero? No, I haven't. I have not. Kind of avoiding that one. I took a break from anime. Although I will be watching the rest of Attack on Titan because I only actually watched like season 1, and then as soon as season 4 is over, I'm going to watch the whole thing just back to back and just keep going. So, what does it mean if I do personality tests? I keep switching between INTP and INFP when I look at my scores, practically 50-50 feeling and thinking. Well, you're taking the wrong test, Isabel Evans, so take mine. csjoseph.life/discover. How can an INTJ not shit the bed when he knows he's going to a place with a lot of people? By making sure that he's going to be the most interesting and funniest person in the room. Very easily. Who's your favorite artist? Ooh, gosh, probably Haley S. Walker. I also really liked Raylan Hall from Louisiana, even though she doesn't like me very much, but her art is exquisite, and I got to give credit where it is due. Also, Anetta from, I believe it's Norway, or the Netherlands. I think it's Norway. She painted that amazing tea ceremony painting, Korean tea ceremony. It's excellent. How long are you planning on streaming? I'm not telling. And is it likely for an SI type to have a poor memory? Depends. Are you talking about short-term or long-term memory? Isabella S. What is Isabella S saying? How can we use our inferior functions to reach mastery? By getting over your fear, obviously. This is explained more in season 19, which is available at csjoseph.life/portal, and just pick whichever type you are within the Discover things, and it includes, each of those include one episode of season 19, which is not available anywhere else. How do I avoid arguing with my ENTP girlfriend as an INFJ? Alright. Joshed up reviews. You need to read the following books in order. The 50th Law by Robert Greene. The Rational Male. The Rational Male Preventative Medicine. The Rational Male Positive Masculinity. Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. Sex at Dawn, and Sapiens, in that exact order. And then you will have the answer to that question. If you don't read those books, she'll likely, statistically, abandon you and lose respect for you. So make sure you read those books. Aiden Hawk. How does an ISTP female get out of demon at FI? Well, go be around people who need help, and those people show you gratitude for it. You just need gratitude. That's it. But you got to show yourself helpful and show yourself friendly before you do that. Which type would you say is the most aligned with being antisocial, and which for prosocial? I would say INTP is the most antisocial, technically. And the one that is the most social, the most social. I'd say ENFJ. for most social. Yeah. Apparently Lucas Martinez thinks that he's my most favorite person here. Tanya, do you think an ISTP and an INTJ really work in a relationship? No. Not at all. I do not think so. Nope. The INTJ will eventually not feel safe, and the ISTP will find the INTJ as overly controlling over time. What does the logo on your hat mean? That is the symbol for ENTPs. I am an ENTP. It is the rogue symbol. Rogues are ENTPs. Is the female group still in the works? I think it exists, technically. A few quick tips on how to type your pet. Gosh, everyone always wants to know how to type a pet. It's actually pretty easy. All you do is you get a bunch of animals of the same species and put them all together. And then put humans around them. And then you just see how each individual animal interacts with each individual human. Make sure the humans are typed ahead of time. And then just use the type grid. It's pretty simple. You'll start to see different behaviors in animals. Sometimes it's kind of easier to type animals than it is humans, since humans keep trying to hide. No, Armin's an INTP. How does SI child hedonism compared to SI inferior depravity? SI inferior depravity is like justified, or at least they try to justify it, whereas SI child hedonism, there is no justification, or at least they're not trying to justify it, and they just do it. So yeah. All right. Okay. A couple of these questions I'm not answering. Okay. Have you ever met an ESFJ who mastered their INTP subconscious? Yeah. I think my sister's pretty close to that. My sister is brilliant, even though I don't like my sister. She doesn't like me either, so it's pretty mutual. Still love her, though. I don't like her, though, at all. It's taken me a while to just admit that I just don't like her. She can be really judgmental sometimes. I'm sure she'd say the same thing for me, but, you know, we're conflict types. But, yeah, if she doesn't know something, she just goes and figures it out. It's pretty cool. No, I don't know what actualize.org is. How do I assure my ESFJ boyfriend? He's constantly worried that I'm upset with him. Annabelle, he needs to read the book Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell, and that'll go away. Okay. Because of COVID, my subconscious and unconscious are battling each other. It can be a battle between both, of course. How does... Okay. You seem to hate on feminism a lot. So where do you draw the line? Sure, I'll actually answer that question. So yes, feminism I maintain is evil, and I think it is destroying people. I think it destroys women more than it destroys men. However, do I think women shouldn't vote? No, I think they should vote. They can vote, they can have jobs, they can own property. I'm not against that. That's ridiculous. But there's no such thing as a wage gap. Don't believe me? Look up that famous interview between Jordan Peterson and that one feminist news anchor woman interviewing him. But yeah, like militant feminism is becoming such a huge problem. A huge problem. And I think feminism ends up teaching some really inaccurate things. The genders are not equal. They're just not. There's no gender equality. That's a complete lie. But they are complementary. It's okay that women are better at men at certain things. It's okay that men are better than women at certain things. It's okay. It's perfectly normal. So, what's the problem? So yeah, I think feminism is a huge problem. I think another issue with feminism, if we're going to go like back to the Garden of Eden and look at the book of Genesis real quick, um, another example of how men and women aren't equal is that, according to the story, God gave men one curse and God gave women two curses, right? Why did that happen? You know, but it's funny because now when you look at those curses are insanely necessary for the sake of mankind to be able to exist here on the earth. And nowadays, it's like people are completely ignoring those responsibilities. Men gained, as part of their curse, have the responsibility to perform as men and produce more than they consume. But because of what feminism has done to men, is that because of what feminism has done to men, they're just like, well, why bother performing? So they don't. And you end up having entitled man children everywhere, which is a serious problem and not helpful. And then on the side for women, for example, you have your desire will be for your husband and he will rule over you. Like, what woman is gonna be okay with that in this society, right? So that's thrown out the door, completely thrown out the door. Besides, the sexiest women are the ones who are the most submissive and respectful anyway. Those are the highest value women out there, and any man would agree. And women actually end up devaluing themselves if they're arrogant and conceited, by and large, regardless of their type. That's just facts, you know. And then there's the other curse that women got, which was increase in childbearing pains. And I think because we have epidural technology, which funnily enough was invented by men, a man, the reason that curse exists is so that, there isn't burdens being multiplied on men, etc. But, now it's just like there isn't as much consequences for women to get pregnant, basically, which can lead to a higher abortion rate or fatherlessness, which I'm categorically against. So I maintain that feminism is evil because feminism creates fatherlessness, which then creates entitled generations. We have entitled millennials, entitled Gen Zers, entitled alpha generation, the newest generations, all very entitled. And this is a serious problem. And it's just making the world worse in like so many ways. So people just judge me and say that, oh, you're just some chauvinist, misogynist hack. And I'm like, okay, you can say that, but that just means you're ignorant. You're actually ignorant about the situation. It's a serious problem. Feminism is a serious problem. Feminism equals fatherlessness. It's a huge issue. This is why I maintain things like paper abortion should be legal. I make, no apologies for being pro-life, but the thing is that I'm not going to force abortion being illegal. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is expect that if women get the right to choose to abort their children, then in the same window that a woman can abort a child, men get the right to choose to abandon all legal, financial, and custodial responsibility towards the child. That way it makes it fair because it's not fair right now. And that way, it's called paper abortion, look it up. And that way, because of that, women won't be as so hypergamous willy-nilly per se, which is really important. It's part of solving the problem of fatherlessness. If you guys actually watch the intro video to this channel, I talk about fatherlessness, which is the whole reason why I'm here. That is the whole reason why I'm here. My life's purpose and the purpose of the CSJ community is so that I can turn the hearts of children to their fathers and the hearts of fathers to their children, and for no other reason. That is the primary reason why I'm here, why I'm giving you folks my time. I absolutely hate fatherlessness with a passion. I hate it. And I also hate this horrible society that just allows this to happen and just damage people. Not one of us here is actually better off for it. Not one. So that's my position on feminism. Even though I'm heavily hated for having that position on feminism. But there just really isn't any benefits. I don't have a problem with women working. I don't have a problem with women making the same amount of money for men. But the wage gap is not actually accurate. It's not. It's been heavily debunked. And like I walk in the Target, for example, and it's mostly females and women working at Target, but they're paid the same as the men, you see. So it's not as like, now if you're talking like corporate white collar stuff, I mean, yeah, you could probably make the argument, but even then, I still would have to default to Jordan Peterson's arguments and logic involving why the wage gap is not really that much of an issue. Do I think women should be allowed to have private property and have the right to vote? Yeah, sure. I don't have a problem with that. So what parts of feminism is really like, what's so great about it? I just see the result of feminism leading to fatherlessness and ultimately death. So how about we just, make things fair? If women get the right to choose, then men get the right to choose. I'm sure the world will be a much better place as a result. So, okay. All right. Okay. So Dacine, to answer your book about the socially unaware INTJ male, read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Do you think that neighbor type relationships such as INTJ and ISTJ relationship works better than Pedagogue because the Pedagogue can cause hatred due to lowest emotional compatibility? No. I think the Pedagogue relationship's super high sexual compatibility gives them the option to solve all of their problems in the bedroom, and I think that's a much higher advantage. But the neighbor type is still doable in terms of relationship. That's by marriage. I have that. So yeah, and it is doable. Just requires an insane amount of communication. Do ISFJs get bullied more often than other personality types? No. I'd say probably ISTJs do. Do ESTJs not like to be told they are smart? No, they love being told they're smart. Are Templars more likely to become pastors and preachers? Maybe NFJs, but I found NFPs and SCJs are more likely to become pastors. Why do INFPs tend to be attracted to ENTPs? First name, last name, I actually am not sure about that. Because I did have an INFP woman who has been trying to get at me and be with me for a very long time, and I never understood why. I never did. She actually finally left me alone recently because I just told her that I don't want to be her friend. Because from my standpoint, I just don't want to, because it's okay, are we in a sexual relationship or are we not? Okay, we're not, and we're not friends, and I'm not going to be in your friend zone so that you get all the benefit with none of the responsibility. No thank you. Get out of my life. So she opted to be out of my life, and I'm like, cool. Now I don't have to be bothered by her anymore. Thank God. That's nice. So I moved around. Hungry Donut. What does it feel like being an intuitive? It can be terrifying. What unique experiences do you have that sensors don't? I don't know. Like, I have I have depression at certain times relating to different things that a concrete person would never do because I see the direction society and the world is going, and sometimes that can make me depressed. But my depression's never going to lead to anything like suicide. Like, I would never commit suicide. If anyone claims that I committed suicide, just realize that I was likely murdered, actually, not suicided, because I would never suicide. Because my version of suicide is burning my entire life to the ground and disappearing. Maybe ending up somewhere and, like, banging a bunch of chicks consistently or something like that. You know, like, if I'm going to commit suicide, I'd rather commit hedonism first or indefinitely. You see what I'm saying? So, not going to do that. Suicide is just not my thing. If I'm willing to like off myself, then I'd go and do far more. You know, like come on. What do INTJs need to do to stop annoying ESFJs? Uh, Basically just make the ESFJs feel wanted, I guess. But also like don't make the ESFJ feel guilty, which is extremely easy for an FI child to do. So use that sympathy. Don't turn off your FI child. How do I INFP get best along with my INTJ mother? Dang. Uh, Basically, sharing. I think share a lot about your life with the INTJ, but you may not be interested in hearing your INTJ mother's opinion. So that could be a problem. So just recognize that. So yeah. Um, all right. Everyone's like, oh, stay away from ENTP women. No, ENTP women are cool. I knew one, Agnieszka. She's pretty cool, ENTP woman that I know. She lives in the UK. Dope woman. Are FE users uncomfortable with inside jokes between two people while in a large group setting? No, it's more of an SE user is because they feel left out. It's like a FOMO, fear of missing out type of thing. Okay, can ENTP relationship work? No, it can't. Uh, Michelle Denise, can mental illness throw off a test? I know 3 people who test as ENFPs and all 3 are bipolar. Is this common? Okay, so like bipolar or all these like psychiatric labels, they're extremely subjective, and usually it's based on like some kind of scale of some kind or metric. I, so I can't really answer that question, but my first inclination is to say no. Okay, are INFJs the most socially introverted? No, they are not. When they are not door slamming humanity over one bad experience. No, I think INFJ is the most extroverted of the introverts. How does one live in the moment? Larissa, from what point of view are you asking that? I need more context. That's way too direct for me. Okay, do you think INTJ and INTP are a good match? Absolutely, I do. That's a silver pair. Watch season 12 playlist to learn more. Why do some sources say INTPs go with ESTJs? Because those sources are ignorant and inaccurate, and you should not ever listen to them. Andrea G says, do we naturally prefer our pedagogue pair or bronze pair? That's a good question. I think naturally we prefer the bronze pair, but I personally really enjoy the pedagogue pair. Although I will admit, I haven't been in a sexual relationship with my bronze pair. So take what I'm saying there with a big grain of salt. I recommend just experiencing it for yourself. Um, Although I guess that's technically not true since I had bad experiences with my upbringing involving a bronze pair, so try to like keep that in mind. So okay. Okay, so As someone said, toxic masculinity drove women to feminism. No, it's not. Actually, feminism is a construct of an ENTP man by the name of Edward Bernays. Look it up. If you don't believe me, you should watch the documentary on YouTube called The Century of the Self. Watch that. But the reality of the situation is, like, that's not true. Toxic masculinity is not what drove women to feminism. The same reason that women started smoking is the same reason that women went to feminism, and for no other reason. Watch The Century of the Self. So, okay. Apparently, like, I lost my place here, so I gotta scroll up just a little bit. Okay. Alright. Gosh. Okay, I think I found my place. Okay, what are your favorite types, Chase? My most favorite is INFJ. Really like ESTP as well. I love NTJs a lot. I love ISFP. ESFPs are really fun as well. I like all the SPs. I like all the SPs, all the NJs, a lot. So I like SE users, with INFJ probably being my most favorite for sure. Any idea how to develop my TE trickster? Um, well, read and have the patience to read. But basically verify, Julius. Just verify. Okay, so okay. That wasn't a question, Tanya, so I don't know what you're even saying there. Uh, Wait, hold on there. SI child can be hedonistic and have no rationality. Holy crap, that explains a lot about me. Yes, that is a thing. Uh, what is Satan's MBTI? I don't know. I go back and forth on it, but I really don't know. I'm not typing the 12 apostles. Not going to happen. It's just not. No. Um, Although I think Luke might be an ISTJ. Any tips on how to raise conscientiousness as an ENTP? Really, only suffering and trial and error. Um, Regarding do INTPs have some sort of FI sadomasochism where they want to be made to feel bad? Yes. Yes, MA456CHOZ. Yes. INTPs have some aspect of FI sadomasochism where they do want to be effectively shamed in the bedroom. Yes. Yes, they do. Sexually, yes. James Morgan, what seductive styles work best on the ENTP? Oh, I think the rake, a combination of the rake and the siren, probably works the most on ENTP. Okay, is it possible to satisfy Fe inferior when working primarily with other crusaders? Not really. INFJ, what kind of music artists do you listen to? Gosh, it's a hard question to answer. Yeah. MA456 says, quote, I think CSJ is against the notion that women are the oppressed type and that they deserve compensation from society for being women. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Mastering one's subconscious and shadow, what do you mean? So ISJ HADB, you should probably watch season 19, which is available at csjoseph.life/portal to get the answer to that question, because I'm not going to answer it here. Okay, and Dr. Mike, what INFJ should I model myself after? Maybe Jesus Christ? John Anders, if you don't like me talking about feminism, then you can just leave the stream and never come back. Like, don't tell me how to, like, run my show. Like, seriously, dude. That's, like, super rude. Like, I'm doing this for free. Like, get over yourself. Like, giving you my time on Christmas. Like, don't be entitled, dude. Cody Richards, how do you help an INTP implement more of their theorizing in actual practice? They need to do trial and error, but do thought experiments, because that's what Einstein did. He mostly did thought experiments. If they learn higher forms of mathematics, especially calculus, where they can understand how logic flows within matrices, they'd be able to theorize even better. I highly recommend it. How can SC Trickster be attractive? Andrea G, through training. They just need to be training. The Bible is the doctrine of life. Not always. Lucas, okay, yeah. Okay, okay. What's the topic for tonight's stream? Q&A, bro. Okay, scrolling down. Okay. 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 Alright, I think people have a problem with separating what men and women are good at because people in our society tend to value masculine traits rather than traditionally feminine ones, like showing emotions. Fair enough. Okay. How would one tell the difference between Isfj and Infp from an internal perspective? Okay, are you just trying to type yourself? Is that why you're asking that, Elijah? Like, okay, are you feeling guilty or are you afraid of being exposed publicly? That's a good difference. Okay. So, Amanda Lynn Gleason asks, so you believe women should be submissive to men? I think a woman should be submissive to her man. That doesn't mean she has to be submissive to men in general. It's probably unwise for her to be submissive to men in general. But a man can spot a woman in public that he's interested in based on how submissive she is, and that makes her more attractive to him. So I'm sure there's an external component and an internal component. But primarily, a woman should be submissive to her man, whoever that is, right? Do I think women should be submissive to all men in general? No. Especially in this fatherless society. That's like stupid. So why are you even bothering to ask that question? Like seriously, why are you asking that question, Amanda? I mean, is it not obvious what my position is? All right, so ESTJ versus ESFP versus ISFJ versus INTP essential differences. Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. It's like way too much. You're going to have to break that down a little, bro. Like seriously. I don't, okay, yeah. Can you explain what you mean by rule over? I don't know. Take it up with a biblical scholar. All right. How can an INTJ get over feeling angry at themselves over their occasional ineffective responses to perceived injustices or threats? Well, don't. Basically, the true answer to that is have self-respect. I recommend watching season, gosh, what is it called? Watch season 6 playlist on this channel, Mr. Mastery, as you will have that answer to your question, but you're gonna have to watch all 6 videos. Doesn't birth control enable one to have sex without any consequences, such as pregnancies? Not necessarily, because it's not 100% effective, and if it's hormone-based birth control, that can cause some serious problems and potentially and heavily increases the risk of breast cancer in women, which is kind of scary. I mean, probably be better off with a Paragard IUD, personally. So, yeah. I am not a libertarian. I don't know why people think I'm a libertarian. Amanda's back again. Isn't hypergamy just the desire to date above your standing? I guess. What is bad about that? There's nothing bad about that. Hypergamy is not bad. I don't know why you folks think that I believe hypergamy is bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying female solipsism is bad. I think they're all necessary. Very necessary for our race's survival and our future. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what spiral dynamic stages of development is? No, I don't. I don't know what it is. I would like to do it more. KK, if you could email me at chase@csjoseph.life with some specific book titles I should read on that, I'd like that. Must be rough having an ENFJ father, Chase. It is, but honestly, I'm happy that he's my dad because I learn a lot and I grow a lot, and it's still a benefactor relationship. So I am very grateful for my father as well as all the FJs in my life. So when approximately is the new CS Joseph test being redesigned? It already is being redesigned. Uh, so okay, so hold on. Just texting Railgun to check on her real quick, make sure she's safe. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Looks like she is. Awesome. Just had to check on her real quick, make sure she's good. Okay. Thank you, Ariana, for the support. I really appreciate it. Okay, so oh, Tanya's back. Why would an INTJ avoid someone even if they like that someone? Fear of rejection, of course. It's literally just fear of rejection. I think when you clarify your full stance like you are now, the hate is lessened if not completely erased. Thank you, MA456. I appreciate that. Okay. Jordan Peterson is the father of our fatherless generation. Well, if you consider his work on UN Agenda 21, you might actually be right. Juden B. Peterstein. Wow, that's like so wrong. Okay. I was kind of funny, but no. Okay. You've mentioned. Okay. Uh, if you had to do it over again, would you have produced your season in a different order? No. No, I would not. It's exactly the way it should be. There's still stuff like rape culture, though. Well, yeah, but again, like that's because we have entitled people, and sometimes people get entitled to other people's bodies. So that's what happens. You know, stop the entitlement. Again, I'm not saying hypergamy is bad. Dang, where'd you get that? All right. You know, I'm not getting paid to say this, but the unofficial spokesman of Ahas, because I love Ahas. Specifically this flavor, yeah. Yes, the watermelon is trash. But the orange grapefruit is exquisite. Yeah, your favorite too? Yeah, that one. All right. Sounds good, beauty. What is the ENTP's greatest fear? It's change. All right. Any advice to female INFPs to help them aspire more with TE Inferior? Literally, they have to read more, and then it'll come naturally. All right, Lucas Martinez. Chase, I get your point that women should be healthy and have a nice figure. Yeah, well, men should be healthy too. But I find that fat women usually don't get divorced cheat because can't easily cheat divorce opposed to looking good. Well, that have you ever read Eat, Pray, Love? Like Lucas, you need to read Eat, Pray, Love before you have, and also like look up Sheryl Sandberg and some of her famous quotes because I'm gonna let you come to your own conclusion. So yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. Chase, do you believe in the supernatural? Yes. What can I do to motivate my ENTP friend in life? This is gonna sound really crazy, but literally increase his suffering. If you want to motivate an ENTP, make them uncomfortable AF. If that means shutting off the data on their phone, do it. But seriously, that's how you do it. Best position of an ENTP in a startup? CTO or CEO, honestly. Okay. Yeah, boundaries. Thank you. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Okay. The INFP will find you attractive until she gets to know you, LOL. Yes, Diamond Bow, that's actually technically accurate. Well said. It's funny. I had this one INFP woman. Her name was Maricela a long time ago, and I was in Sacramento, not at Limelight, but this other place that's now closed down. The small business no longer exists because of COVID. But I was at this restaurant in downtown Sac, and I was on the second level, and she shared her bacon with me because that's what SI user women do to attract their SE user men and share stuff with them. And that completely grosses out my SI inferior because I like to be the one to share, not to have someone share with me. But I realized that she was an INFP, and so I had to respect who she was and get over myself. So I had some bacon. It was good bacon, not gonna lie. She had such a crush on me, and she wanted to like be my pen pal or whatever. It's funny, the leader of the group though, the INFJ, she ended up sleeping with him for a while. And then they ended up breaking up, and then she came back to me hoping that I'd get with her, and I said no, and then she moved to Portland, and that's the last time I ever heard from her. So yeah. Snoop Dogg from Canada. How do Templars see INTJs, mainly ENFJs and ESTPs? ESTPs see them as weak, and ENFJs see them as socially incapable and not really good, I'd imagine. Okay. Why are STJs direct and NFPs informative? It's because the cognitive, the order of their cognitive functions. Okay. Okay. So yes. Sin of humanity makes me cry. How can an INFP help an ISTP develop F inferior? Whenever the ISTP does a good job about something, show them gratitude and give them special treatment with that specific kind of gratitude. That is only for them, not for other people. Okay. Is the new Joker an INFP in that new movie? Seems like it to me. Josh Up reviews. Okay. 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 So we all know. Okay. We all know that Chase is going to fake his death and live life on an island in the Pacific. My entire childhood was lived on an island in the Pacific. Not really looking at repeating that. I'll be in the mountains. I'm already in the mountains now. I plan on staying in the mountains. It's not that I don't visit places like Sacramento or the Bay. Still live in the mountains though. Can someone change the orbit of their inferior function, and why? If they reverse the polarity of their function, sure, but that's what cognitive transition is all about. I actually explained that in detail in season 18. So to get season 18, go to csjoseph.life/typegrid and just put in your email, and you're on our email list, and then you can get access to our free season 18 lectures. The thing is, you won't be able to see any of the old ones if you're freshly signing up, but if you want to see the old ones, go to csjoseph.life/members and become a journeyman member. It's like $29 a month, and you'll get access to season 18, as well as like a crap ton of other content. Like, I have this podcast called Cutting Edge. It's private. It's got like 2 years of content on it, just sitting there. A lot. And like each episode, I think is like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Some crazy thing. All right, so what are some quirks that ENFPs have? No, I don't want to answer that. It's kind of boring. Are you going to do a series on benefactor relationships? Yes, I will be. Not sure when, though. How can I stop feeling stupid around my coworkers that include a lot of ENTPs and INTPs? Realizing that you're probably better at social interaction than they are and do social things. Just contribute. Get some, like, do you know what I do sometimes? Like, if I'm working for somewhere, I just go to the local donut shop and get the absolute best, like, apple fritters or glazed donuts or whatever, or get, like, a variety, and I just show up with donuts. Give them donuts. Worst case, get the food can go a long way, Why would an INTJ avoid someone even if they like that someone? I already answered that, but I'll give you another flavor on that one, Tanya. It could also be because they're afraid of getting attached, because they know they won't be able to let go. How was your Christmas? It was very peaceful, for the most part. How can an INTP get recognition from Crusader colleagues? You might not be able to. I still have not gotten recognition from my sister, even though I have shown her some in her life, and I just got over myself. Okay. Have you had any thoughts about doing a season on getting out of the rat race? Yes, I have. I technically am already doing that, but you'd have to join our men's group to do that. And in order to join the men's group, all you have to do is contact me on Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, or send me an email or open a ticket, provide your email address, and you have to read all 3 Rational Male books, as well as Atomic Attraction, Sex at Dawn. Get all those books in there. You also have to have a current LinkedIn profile as well, preferably with 500 connections on it already. If not, we can help you get there. And those are the entrance requirements to get in the men's group. And just open a ticket, and we'll get right to you. Hi, Chase. I'm an INFP woman who lacks humility. What should I do? Humble yourself? That's like as simple as I can answer that. And I lost my place again. Gosh, I hate this interface. It is the stupidest thing. Like literally the stupidest thing, this interface. Wow. Dang, is that many questions come in? Yeah, that many questions came in. Shoot, like you guys are all at the bottom, but I'm like 25, or I'm like 75% of the way up on the scroll bar. So, all right, okay, so basically do things that make you uncomfortable. So Amanda Lynn Gleason, do things that make you uncomfortable, and do things that would bore you, and do things that would potentially put your reputation at risk, basically. And then dealing with all the blowback of that situation will give you some humility. So attachment styles actually help you identify your type. It's not something that affects your type per se. Like anxious attachment style is more SE oriented. SI is more avoidant. So just kind of give you an idea. We were primarily an INTP in the period you were stuck in your INTJ shallow. Yes, I was. Um, can an ESTP male and INFJ female have a successful marriage? Not really, but I think one of you is likely mistyped Diamond Girl. So, okay. How do I keep a good relationship with my ISFP mom as an INFJ? Don't ever put your personal choice above hers unless it's necessary for you to do so as a man. And just stick around and share things with her. Just share more. Don't expect her to share with you. Try to share with her whenever you can. INFJ, ESFP relationship, avoid that. Jawad, avoid it. FI, taking on the morals or principles of being selfless or caring, no idea. Okay, what advice did you give to someone who shares their type with one of their parents? Oh gosh, that's a good question. My parents completely rejected the notion of personality type until they saw me be successful in using it with other people in their circle, and then they accepted it. That's really the only thing I can ever do. How can an INFJ overcome laziness? By not being afraid of rejection or afraid of failure. Okay, excessive revelry probably created feminism. That's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen you say. MA456CHOZ. Pretty awesome. What type is the most socially awkward? Gosh, probably INTJ. They're really socially awkward. Like, really socially awkward. Okay. Merry Christmas. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. How to be more disciplined as an INTJ. This is going to sound weird, but literally become a Buddhist, because Buddhism actually teaches self-discipline, and it's one of the best ways for an INTJ to develop Isfj superego. It sounds crazy, but Buddhism was created by an INTJ because the Buddha is an INTJ. So understand that it literally is a pathway to teach NI Hero how to be self-disciplined. It's the best one I know of. So I always default to that. Lo Wen Wei, what's up? Any tips for male ISTJ who have trouble making male friends and getting along with them? Basically, sharing. It literally comes down to sharing. Just share with people. Share, 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 share. Sharing. And the SEUs or men in your life will really like that you share a lot. But yeah, it's literally sharing. It's something my brother-in-law needs to learn because he's an ISTJ. What do you think will happen when Christians realize they've been hating on homosexuality for no valid reason? I'm sure they'll be very contrite. Homosexuality is not a sin. How to get an INFJ out of SI demon so that he can get a life outside of video games and sleeping? By increasing his ability to perform so that he performs well so he can gain the attention from other people, and having attention will keep him away from his SI demon. Attention is the #1 way to heal an SI demon, but if your performance sucks, you're not going to get attention, so you might want to fix that. How does one live in the moment? As an ENTJ, how to not get stuck in analysis paralysis and live more in the present, less in the future? By taking risks. Larissa, you gotta just take risks. That's all there is to it. Why does everyone think they're an INFJ? Because the tests are terrible. Are SE users more likely to have tattoos? Not necessarily. It's super high SE users, SE heroes, SE parents, and any heroes and any parents are the most likely to have tattoos. Why does everyone think they? Okay. Like SE critic versus SE hero. No, John K. That's not how that works. Why do INFJs hate receiving feedback? Because it makes them feel guilty. That's why. TI users arrive at the truth, but only if the TE input is correct. How does that compare with FI arriving at a good with orbit to FE? It's very similar, but it's not the same thing because FI is the end of the chain. It's the feedback. It's the end, not the beginning. Okay, thank you, Faith, Health, Fitness, for liking me, I guess. Okay. All right. Merry Christmas. Have you ever listened to the band Tool? Yes, I have. They're okay. Not my favorite, though. What side of the mind would an INTJ be if they smoke pot? Well, if it's sativa, they'll be in their ESFP subconscious. If there's indica, they'll be in their ENTP unconscious. Okay, does the shadow change when transitioning to the subconscious? Technically, yes. Castlevania Pro 93, technically, yes. But in a different way. Yeah, well, you can ask the question again. My mood might change in the moment, I guess. I don't know. It's FI Trickster. So what's the difference between FI wanting to do the right thing and affiliative types wanting to do the right thing? Well, one's external and one's internal. One's based on an external judgment, one's based on internal judgment. Okay, can I tell the difference if I'm an ESTJ focused INFP or an ISTJ? I don't know what you're asking, Hana Caruso. Please re-ask that a different way. Okay, submit to a respectful man, not just anyone. Yes, well said, Faith, Health, Fitness. Okay, what's your opinion on the OP system? Like Dave Powers? It's better than most systems out there. Objective personality system, it's really, really rational. It's like too rational. It's not as logical. However, they have arrived at similar conclusions that I have, which is great. But in terms of their ability to identify the people's types, I think they're pretty weak in that area. But in terms of explaining interactions and things from there, it's pretty well in depth. So yeah. Will you ever make a subreddit? Should I make a subreddit? To use Apple products. I use Apple products all the time. Except I mostly just have my phone, which is cool. I like my phone. I hate tablet computers. Doesn't matter what they are. I hate them. But if I'm forced to use a tablet computer, I'd rather use an iPad, but I'd rather not deal with them. I hate them. I do like MacBooks a lot. I might actually get one next year if I can afford it. But I'm not sure. It depends if this computer is going to work out for me or not. Why don't people read books anymore? Because entitlement. All good, Amanda. Okay. So, okay. Okay. I don't know if that's true, Alejandro. Are a lot of comedians ENTPs? Yes, a few of them are. Seth MacFarlane is an ENTP. Uh, okay. I mean, Melissa, I could see where you're coming from. I'm not going to deny that. That's definitely a thing, but not everyone. Um, okay, so Carl is back. Fair enough, Chase. Appreciate the honesty. So how about ISFP versus INTP? Tell the major difference. One cares about what they feel like and their values, and the other one cares about the truth. I guess that's the main difference. How would a 30-year-old ESTJ find 20-year-old INFJ's lack of sexual experience unattractive? Probably because of probably because their SI is afraid that the INFJ is not going to be good in the bedroom, basically. But he should. The SI. I don't know if he's exactly being honest. That kind of sounds like the ESTJ would be leading on the INFJ in that moment. I think that's probably what's happening. I think there's some dishonesty there, but usually SI parent is patient enough to give SE inferior the opportunity to perform in the bedroom because it's bronze parasexuality. Um, all right, Jen Stone, how can I make sure my ISTP entering into adolescence stays away from alcohol and drugs? By giving the ISTP recognition and gratitude for being responsible and positively reinforcing that behavior. Uh, okay. MA456CHOZ says, I think what people need to understand is Chase doesn't hate on any specific group or people. He hates phenomenon that cause society to collapse or degrade. Very true. It's not like he wants to shame women who are excessively hypergamous, but he will point out that excessive hypergamy is problematic for society's overall well-being. Yes, thank you. Someone gets it. How can you tell the difference between the child function and the inferior function? You have to learn cognitive access. Season 18, Alejandro explains this. You could find that at csjoseph.life/members. Become a member, get access to season 18. No, it's not a personal hate thing. What type, besides ENFJ and ENTJ, have the worst memory? I mean, INJs are pretty bad at it. SPs are pretty bad at it, but INJs. What do you mean, how are INFPs cute? They're literally the cutest. I die of cute in their presence all the time. Who doesn't? Favorite Christmas food? All right, Larissa. I will admit something about myself that I've never admitted before. I am obsessed with a certain Christmas food. My mother, she used to make, my mother, she's not the best cook in the world, although she does better than most, but she is fantastic at baking and very good at desserts. I like me some dessert, but, given my, that I used to be obese, I can't really do that anymore. But my most favorite Christmas food is dark chocolate covered graham crackers. Love them. Love them. Now, what's interesting about that is that I have a bad habit of going to Starbucks literally just for their dark chocolate covered graham crackers and no other reason. Like literally no other reason. It's a very bad habit of mine, but I love them. I love them way too much. So yeah. Yeah. So okay. Carl Rumachazo. By the way, folks, when Jay says submissive, he doesn't mean the cartoon you have in your heads. What? I don't know what that means. He basically means respectful, like not be spoiled, disrespectful brat with penis envy. I mean, I think men actually have a penis envy problem. I don't think women actually have a penis envy problem, bro. I think that's more of a men thing. You could tell by the way he interacts with this woman and how he treats his ex. Oh, okay, that's a fair point, but I disagree with you. I don't think women have penis envy. I think just men do, honestly. What is the most pragmatic affiliative and the most affiliative pragmatic? Oh gosh, the most affiliative pragmatic I would say is probably INTP. And the most pragmatic affiliative, oh gosh. Oh, that's hard. The most pragmatic affiliative. It's hard. I think it's one of the FE parents. I can argue both, but I really can't offer a specific judgment. The jury's still out on that, I guess I'll say. Does FE inferior types fear rejection? Not so much. It's more of just fear of not being valued. So, um, no, not improving TI. TI is verification. So, Tanya, don't be deleting your messages. That really pisses me off. And just so you guys know, like if you guys send me text or whatever and you like delete your message, like I might just like auto block you right there. I hate it when people delete messages. It really pisses off my NI nemesis. Like I absolutely hate it. And I become very angry. So just don't do it. Otherwise I might just like cut you out. My INTJ side will just like door slam you right there. So don't delete your messages, please. Okay, as frogs in a gradually boiling pot. No. Okay. How do you motivate an ISTP friend from the lack of financial freedom? Forced education, most likely, forced career later, doesn't even know what his passion is. Okay, the guy needs, okay, so this ISTP friend literally needs some freedom, but not in like an escapism point of way. Change the ISTP marketing. I think that would really help them out. But also get them to uh, become a teacher. Help them get in line with their subconscious. And when they're teaching, have them charge for their teaching. Have them give music lessons, for example. I know an ISTP that does that. He's amazing at it. Okay. I like coquettes, but not long term. I need decently consistent attention. Well, you just want to be wanted, Amanda. I mean, so do I. I get it. What do you think draws the line in general for a mentally unhealthy type? I see unhealthy thrown around in MBTI communities for bad reasons. This is why I don't like saying unhealthy in the CSJ community, Susjosh, because it's not good. Like the term healthy or unhealthy is so subjective and is not clearly defined that no human being really has a right to claim if someone is healthy or unhealthy when it comes to mental. Now, if you see someone who's fat, they're unhealthy. That's just reality. It's pretty obvious. That's concrete. But saying that someone is unhealthy mentally, that is not concrete. That is abstract and not worth making a decision on. Oh, Tara Lynn is retracting messages too. Please stop doing that, guys. Please don't do that. It bothers me. Okay. What? Okay. Well, no. No woman deserves to be raped. I don't care if some random INTJ said they deserve to be raped because they put themselves in a bad decision. No. It's not. No, no. No, I completely reject that. Yeah, I live in the mountains. I love me the mountains, Helen. It's totally dope out here. Snow's dropping right now. Is the snow still falling? Yep. The snow is falling. It's very peaceful. The air is clean. Not very much drama. Love me the mountains. Okay. How can INTPs be prone to outburst or anger issues? Or is it an SE thing? Okay, it is an SE thing, but INTPs can activate their um, Isfp demon if they are completely and utterly have recognition stolen from them and given to someone else. It'd be like giving credit for something else that they did, right? It'd be like valuing someone else over them. That is what causes them to become ragey and upset. So yeah. Yeah, no, you can't watch it at 1.5 times speed. Sorry about that, bro. Okay. How far up do I have to scroll up now? Lost my place again. Thought I caught up. Nope. Um, What about a bald men's group or an overweight group? They should not be bald, or they should actually really accept being bald. Living in the mountains. Okay, why relationship between Intp and Infj are so popular, like a golden pair? Okay, Cruz, Caceres. Okay, so that is like not a golden pair at all. It is a benefactor relationship. So yeah, yes, there is a women's group. Contact Vicky on the Facebook group, Facebook public group. Go to facebook.com/csjosephlife, click on groups, go to the public group. There is a women's group. Just go with them. Yes, I have 5,000 friends on Facebook too. I'm probably going to delete all of them. What's the, okay, yeah. How can you make an ESTP feel valued? You share with them and ask them what they think about things. Ask them for help. But sharing is a big deal. And, you know, sharing is pretty hard to do for an SI inferior sometimes. Actually, like, recently had a Christmas Scrooge moment, and I felt really guilty about it. I'm like, oh, wow, look, Chase, nice SI inferior depravity. You're afraid of giving something to somebody. You're afraid of sharing. So I'm going to share double to punish myself for being depraved. And then worked out. Worked out pretty well. I'm glad I did it. It was a nice lesson to be able to teach myself in that regard. How can an INFP improve their relationship with their ISTJ mother? Gosh, it's so hard to make that ISTJ mother feel wanted. But you guys are conflict types. Basically, a healthy amount of distance is really the only thing. What do you know about asexuality? It's kind of a myth, honestly. So yeah, it's kind of a myth. INJs, especially INTJs, claim to be asexual, but it's not true. They just think it, but it's not true. How can you get an ISTP to read books and not stay ignorant in their echo chamber? By telling them that they will be left out if they don't do it. Okay. How do you get a stronger ENTP superego? So that would be ESFP question. And not there. Tanya, it's fine. You can repeat questions. It's all good. You don't bother me, Tanya. Like, you don't bother me. It's all good. Except for when you delete your, you know, your questions. What is the most arrogant MBTI type? Gosh. That's really hard. The most arrogant? Probably mine. As much as I hate to admit it. Probably mine. I could say ISTPs are really super arrogant as well. Yeah, probably ISTPs and probably ENTPs, I'd say. Can INTJs be best at social engineering con artists? Yes, of course. INTJs can technically be better at it than an ENTP. Yes. Check out Catch Me If You Can. That guy's an INTJ. Yeah. Could you give examples of NI Demon? Yeah, they start making choices when no one else wants them. Why do S users like it when SI share with them? What kind of sharing is best? Emotional, material, stories? All of those things, Emily J, but especially stories. SE users love stories. They love stories so much. And if they're interest-based SE users, they like material. If they're systematic, they like problem solving. Are persecutors usually FI users? I haven't seen F users be hardcore homophobic to the point of violence before. I don't know if that's true, but again, I'll say it again, homosexuality is not a sin. Please stop thinking it's a sin. It's not. Where can I go to take the personality test? It's at csjoseph.life/discover is where you can take the test, good sir. Just when you're taking the test, remember, put in the first, read all the questions first, okay? And then whichever ones you resonate with the most, choose those first, and then let the test remove choices from you. It increases the accuracy. Okay, why are Intj women so uncommon and Infj men? We don't really know. I think it has to do with the survival of our race. I think intuitives are not as practical as sensors, and practicality is necessary for survival in this harsh climate of the Earth, or the harsh place of the Earth. Why would an INTJ sometimes seem pragmatic, values traditions, wanting to follow social norms? Because their reputation is probably tacked onto that, like if they're a politician. Yasmin is back. Why do we get into a lot of useless debates? The Intps and INFJ. Uh, Probably because their TE critic just doesn't like you not verifying what you know or your beliefs. Doesn't homosexuality directly invert logos? No. Any advice for an INTJ who has weakness for FI users? I enjoy emo music and emotional people, and I'm not sure if I should. I get out of balance, but I love FI users. It's probably because, Tanya, you identify them with them. What advice would you give to a ISFP to make new friends who is stuck responding rather than initiating? Who is stuck responding? Again, give other people a good time, I guess. Yeah, well, I don't know how to make a subreddit, so someone's just gonna have to educate me. How to know you're an INTJ or not? Okay, yeah. Yes, you're welcome for the stream. I don't know much about nootropics. No, Seth MacFarlane's an ENTP. A pickup artist most likely to be ENTP. Neil Strauss is a former pickup artist, ENTP. No, they can also be just any heroes. I mean, Corey Wayne, which I don't really necessarily believe he's a pickup artist, but he's an ENFP. Okay, which introverted type is more likely to initiate to fill an awkward silence? Oh gosh. Oh, gosh, that's a huge question. I'd have to say INFJ would do it the most. But I could argue other types. Do you know any other INFJ authors to read about apart from Simon Sinek? Yes, David Deida. Deida. Okay. My sister simps you. Okay, I don't know what that means. Why does everything... I don't know. How can I get over an ENFP girl who's cheated on me? I'm an INFJ. She's not even attractive, but I can't get over her. It's because your NI hero can't let go. And the only way an NI hero can let go is if you overwrite the memories with somebody new, basically. So you have to do very fast replacement, and then you're good to go. I don't know why you're saying that, Cowalicious. So, like, I really have no idea. Oh, I lost my place. Whoops. Okay. Okay. Yes, Stellar Memer, but read the Entrepreneurship 15 at csjoseph.life/reading. What types demon energies as a result of the accusing of a crime the accuser actually committed and said the accuser intentionally? Probably NTPs, I would say. Okay. All right. How much is too much freedom for an ISTP teen? Well, if their freedom, okay, so for an SP teen, how much is too freedom? If their freedom of choice is creating obstacles and burdens on other people around them, as well as negative consequences, that's too much freedom. You got to take it away. And you have to tell them that if they don't start managing the consequences of their own choices that could impact others negatively, tell them that they're going to be put in jail or behind bars, because that's why most people in jail are SPs, and it's because of their lack of consequential awareness and how their freedom of choice negatively impacts other people. You won't have that problem with NI parents and heroes, but you do with NI child and NI inferior. Okay. Okay. What books What books every INTJ should read? Everything by Kevin Mitnick, for sure. MIT, How can I let my ESTP dad know the fact that he always tries to prevent me from falling and learning from trial and error is not helping me at all? Abandon him, I guess, for now. Just get some distance, get some space. Okay. Okay. I keep ending up in relationships with fellow SI users. Advice: stop initiating with them, Annabelle. Let the SE users initiate with you. Stop initiating relationships, and then you won't be with SI users. Okay, so Elisa Blaze, what can an INFP do to stop being scared of getting in their first relationship? Just do it. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Like, realize that you're lacking in status over time because you're doing that to yourself. I think Mr. Darcy might be an ENTP, but I'm not really sure. Any advice for an INTJ? It might be an INFP as well. Okay. An INTJ making new friends. Be hilarious. Literally, just make jokes. It sounds weird, but yeah, Sabrina C. Make jokes. Again, same thing for you, Jay Elfman. Okay, will a mature golden petter ever split up from natural reasons, like growing apart for whatever? Usually they split up because the woman puts children above her man, or she lets her body go, or she gets disrespectful, or the man just becomes like a beta simp over time. So yeah. Okay, thank you, Famal, for your opinion. Whatever. Okay, how can an INFJ make friends easily? When I say things I perceive as the truth, it alienates a lot of people. Verify your beliefs first, and then ask them ahead of time if they want your opinion. You know, NI users need to learn how to ask, just like SI users have to learn how to share. Okay. So yes, Merry Christmas. Okay, I'm still upset that Chase types Kaseo-chan as an ENTP. Get over it, Lucas. Seriously, get over it. When ESTP giving up his freedom of choice for the sake of others, future be an example of using angelic philosopher stone? Yes, technically, but I haven't met one that does that. So, okay. Okay. Oh gosh, it keeps messing up. Which types are most likely to finish first and last in the dating game? Finishing first will be STPs and NTJs. Finishing last would be NTPs and SFJs in terms of men, for sure. Okay, how's your shoulder pain going? It's going terrible. It hurts a lot. How to differentiate between being... Okay, should you ever take away or limit the freedom of an INJ when parenting them? Yes, if they're irresponsible with their freedom of choice, yes. Okay. Merry Christmas, Josh. Is it possible to stay on one side or the other side's mind to the point where it becomes your ego? Not indefinitely, only temporarily. Or unless you have brain injury. That could happen. Okay. Is it possible to stay? Okay, no. Why do some get obsessed with finding out their type? TI critics do all the time, Dio. Darcy's an INFP. He's always typed as an INTJ, haha. It's either that or an ENTP. I don't know for sure. How to improve relationship with ESFP sister? I'm an INTJ. Don't try to compete with her, basically. I guess the best thing, but also give her space. Why would an ISTJ father not want much to do with his ESTP son from very early on in the ESTP childhood? Because the ISTJ father values achievements, and any inferior is afraid that his ESTP son is not going to be achieving as much as him, basically. So it creates this reverse vicarious polarity that can be difficult. Do you recognize ESFJ's superego in Ted Bundy? No, I recognize ISFJ's superego, actually. If ancient attachment style is most likely SV and avoidant SI, then what about the combination fearful avoidant? That changes based on the order of cognitive axes within someone's head. But that's way too complex for this Q&A session. Should an INTJ initiate relationship with an ENTP? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm getting mixed signals and it's confusing. Okay. If you are an INTJ man, men usually are socially expected to initiate with women. If you're an NI user, you need to be the one that initiates the relationship. That's just the reality. Now, if you're an NI user woman, it can be harder. Now, you can make it easier if you're like, for example, an ENTP, and you're an ENTP man. This is how you ask out an INTJ woman. You say, hey, I'm going to be at this location at this time getting this or doing this at this, like tomorrow or 2 days from now or whatever. Do you want to come with me? So the ENT just has to share. Share an experience. Sharing. Share, share, share. NI users, you need to learn how to ask. Ask, ask, ask. SI users, you got to share. You want to ask out someone of the opposite sex? More asking and more sharing. That's it. Super easy. I'm a responding, abstract, and a TI user. Okay, yeah, okay. Bob Robinson, Downtown Sac. Yeah, exactly, thanks. What are the main things ENFPs and INTJs should pay attention to when actually making their pedagogue relationship useful? This is answered in a season 14, episode 10, and that is available at csjoseph.life/members. Okay, I was busy drinking rum. Why is the rum gone? I don't know. Okay, it could actually be an age or Aiden FJ. I don't know what you mean there, Aiden. I never asked my son for help. I did show him how much I loved him, but did not share my personal feelings until the end. Does that mean I was the demise of his life? No, I wouldn't say that, Jen Stone. I wouldn't say that. Don't forget that he has his own personal responsibility, and you shouldn't beat yourself up for that. And don't forget too, like you as a mother were in a very complex situation. Also, you were in a relationship with your polar opposite, so you kind of were living in your own personal hell, and your son was also absorbing your suffering into him at the same time. It's not necessarily your fault, okay? I think you're both products of your really bad situation. So I wouldn't take responsibility for that. Taking advice for a girl ENTP, and I also emailed you about the recommendations. All right, so KK, watch the Queen Archetype video, which is season 13, episode 3 or 4, I believe, on this YouTube channel. Just go to the season 13 playlist and watch it. The Queen Archetype, it's the mature feminine. It might be episode 5. But check out that episode and basically become Queen Archetype as soon as possible. And then once you've reached Queen, I don't know, go to a bar and just sit at a bar by yourself and literally do nothing but just play on your phone or read a book or do something productive. Order some food if you want to eat, and then men will approach you. It's pretty simple. But as long as you reach Queen Archetype, men will seek you out. That's it. That's all you need to do. Okay, so... Okay. INFPs have a hard time being rational if they don't have an opportunity to vent. They need room to vent. Let them vent. Does SI demon tend to binge? Absolutely it does. Okay, how can INFJs let go of the past so they can move on? By overwriting their past with new memories. They have to overwrite. You have to overwrite that internal SI demon hard drive. If you don't overwrite, you're going to be haunted by it. Chase, happy holidays, and thank you for the free Q&A. For example, Andy Andrea, my former girlfriend, we only went on one date, never actually had sex, still emails me 2 years later and whatnot. But I recently told her, because she's like, oh, you know, I'm dating Tom, this ENTP now. We're looking at being life partners. And I'm like, well, why are you telling me that? Are you telling me that because you're trying to make me jealous or something? Or or are you just being matter of fact? Like, I don't actually know like the intentions of why you're sending me this in an email. But I told her she needs to expose herself to him and all of her secrets and actually be like real to him if he actually exists. Because if he exists, then she won't lose him basically because she's being honest with him. So yeah, that's really important, as a result. But gosh, where did I? Gosh, did I lose my place again? So the point is, I told her that, hey, if you're having a hard time forgetting about me because like your NI hero can't let go of me, then literally like every gift I ever gave you, go destroy it. Just get rid of them. And then so that it makes it easier for you to forget because there's no totems. And then go make some good memories with Tom. So I get overwritten in your SI demon memories, basically. And that's how she can basically free herself from my influence. Otherwise, I'm liable of haunting her for the rest of her life. So, which haunting happens. And I don't mind haunting people. It makes my SE demon very happy to haunt people. Okay, Rhett Butler is an ENTP. I agree. He's very pragmatic. How is SE Inferior supposed to be the most interesting person in the room? By aspiring, by having shared experiences, directing the experience. How do I improve my relationship with my ESTJ mother? Make her feel wanted, boost her reputation, be brutally honest with her. Are INFJs capable of long-term relationships or marriage? Absolutely they are, Jamie Nelson, because I can't trust anybody. My FI credit makes me feel like I can't compete with other men. It makes me just want to give up. Okay, so you need to read every book written by Rollo Tomasi as well as every book written by Christopher Canwell, and then read Sex at Dawn, and then you'll like not be in that position anymore. Can NI hero refuse to want important stuff because they don't get what they want and it's too painful? Yes, but that's kind of any NI user could have that issue. All right, so what do you think of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case? I think Johnny Depp was horrendously mischaracterized and misunderstood. Okay. How do INTJs motivate themselves? By being a top performer. How to manage stress as an INFJ and stay focused? By having other people around you that you will let down. Wait, this is your Christmas gift to the CSJ community? Yes. Just curious what you think homosexuality is a choice or a mental thing. It's both. Homosexuality can be a choice. I have coached many INFJs who have door slammed the female gender because they had one bad sexual experience one time and they just chose to be homosexual afterwards. And I have people who that's just mentally who they are. So it's both. Can INTJs benefit from formal education? Also, homosexuality is not a sin. Stop thinking that. Can INTJs benefit from formal education? They can, yeah, because they're TE users. Or can they educate themselves just like INFJs? They absolutely can educate themselves. INTJs can educate themselves better than anyone else can because their purpose in life is to master any skill as long as they use it. But if they don't use it, they will lose it. Any advice for an INTP to use their intelligence for something important? Use your intelligence to be as helpful as possible and solve problems. That's really all I could say. How can I get an SE user to relax deeply? I know that it's by having SI users create an environment of Zen that relaxes you as an SI user and invite them to be in that Zen environment. That's how you get them to relax. Couldn't we technically prefer bronze over silver pairs as our hero and inner child get more attention? Technically, that is possible, Andrea G, just based on pessimism versus optimism. Statistically, bronze pairs are favored overall. Every single possible relationship out there, they're heavily favored. Okay, do INTP and ESTPs make good business partners? Yes, they can. Why would an INFJ be horrible at keeping their own secrets but be great at keeping others? Because they don't really have much fun to talk to. Lol, your ex is still emailing you, and then you're still stuck on the hard drive, and this Tom dude hasn't overwritten anything yet? Yeah, I know. I was literally talking about that with my wife earlier today. What type is Clark Kent in Smallville? He's an ESTJ. It's not orange soda. This is not orange soda. This is sparkling water, orange grapefruit. Will sleeping with ghosts make the most sense for most INTJs? That's really funny, Tanya, and also very painful at the same time. Okay, why would an ENTJ marry SFPs twice and know they are not mistyped? Because probably some religious influence or abuse. How should an ISTP deal with depression if they feel like the world is meaningless and constantly against them, asking for a friend? That sounds like nihilism and might be more INTJ than ISTP-ish, but really it's just because they don't see anyone valuing them and they also don't have anyone to teach. Okay. Why would I not see the point of fighting? So the thing is, Mastery, if someone's getting mad at you and you're choosing not to communicate with them, it's not going to resolve anything, and they're likely a TI user who just wants to have a resolution. Why is it that INFJs can become the avatar of absolute truth if they seek to become the avatar of absolute truth through SE perfectionism? General Kenobi, this is answered in Season 19, Episode 4, INFJs. Please rewatch it. How can a SE inferior relax without an SI user around? Because surround themselves with the totems the SI user left behind, of course. How can INFJs stop bragging about their sexual endeavors to other people? By not being insecure about their poor sexual performance to begin with. They only brag because they're insecure. Hello, Della. Aiden Washneys, are the percentages of each type that occurs in the world correlated to the amount and style of impact they have on the world? Like, innovation is great, but we need people to maintain things. I think a Strauss and Howe theory, Aiden, is probably the best place to go to answer that question. I don't have a specific answer to you. I just believe that you apply your question to Strauss and Howe theory, and I think you will be able to arrive to your conclusion. See the book, The Fourth Turning. Who's the INFJ bronze pair? That is the ESTJ. Does an INFP in their shadow have some SE? Yes. Can an I demon be expressed as never wanting to do something again to make the worst choice, not caring anymore? Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not wanted, so I'm going to do things that I want, and it's self-destructive to a point. They just destroy their own future. What do you think are the most common concrete type in the CSJ community? ESTP. Okay. Okay. I don't know what you're saying, Cassandra James. I don't even understand your point. So. Okay. All right. Would keeping TI parent razor sharp be important in maintaining respect from an ENTJ female? Of course. Absolutely. What types are the most affected by culture? Definitely affiliative Templars, which would be NFJs. And then you could say systematic guardians, which are SFJs. Okay. How to know if someone is stuck on the other side of their mind? By comparing their behavior to the behavior of others. Why do personalities change over time? Because people grow. But their ego stays the same. So, what do you mean? And 100% INFP? Hannah Keller, that is completely inaccurate. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. That's not how it works. Your ego is your ego is your ego. That's it. But you can go into other sides of your mind. There's a total of 4 sides of your mind: subconscious, unconscious, superego, are the other 3. And you can go into them and use their mental abilities over time. But you'd still be an ENFP or you'd still be an INFP. Stop relying on tests. The tests are bullshit. Okay. What's your top 5 favorite personality types you would want to be if you weren't an INTP? I'd only want to be an ISTP and maybe an ESTP, and that's it. How do ESTP being an SE hero will have a relationship with an INFP with SE polar? Will they be happy? Yes, of course they'd be happy. That's a bronze pair. Why do I continuously have a problem sounding sexual as an INFJ even though I'm not talking about anything sexual at all? I don't know. It must be that super sexy INFJ wisp with how they talk with their voices. LOL. I don't know. That may just be like a verbal tick that you have personally. I don't think it has to do with INFJs. So I don't know. It could be neutral. So since INTP is the most affiliated pragmatic, does that make them most likely to understand both camps? Not necessarily. It means that they're more likely to be willing to play with human life in negative ways because they're seeing the affiliative as for the sake of the greater good. How do mental disorders affect type? It's too subjective to answer around Earth society. Way too subjective. Which types are the fastest at thinking and the slowest at reacting? Slowest at reacting is our SE tricksters and demons. Fastest at thinking are TI heroes and parents. And INTP would be like both of those simultaneously. Andra says, Merry Christmas. Thanks for taking time out for us. Certainly. You're most welcome. Okay. Do INFJs have lower self-worth than ISFJs? Yes, they do. They both have FI critic. Yes, they do. It's because they are introverted, because the ISFJ has introverted sensing. They're able to remember where they've changed and grown over time, whereas the INFJs do not. How can an INFJ become funnier? Practice. And I demon, okay. How come you consider the INFP the most brilliant, not the ISFP? Because the INFP can remember. Okay, what would make an ESFJ semi-abandon her children for a new lover and start a new life where she doesn't tell her young kids basic info like where she lives and the phone number? Because any child wants to be wanted, and she somehow believes that that's the cost that she has to pay in order to make that happen. Okay. I'm not really relying on the tests, I promise. Okay, Hannah. Well, I don't know what to tell you. One biggest difference. What would you say are the examples of the most entertaining, interesting ENTP figures in fiction or otherwise? I don't know. What is the worst dualist relationship? Duality? Oh gosh. It's probably ESFP INTJ. I'd probably say it'd be the worst. It can be pretty explosive. I've seen it be really explosive. I've also seen ESTP INFJ be insanely explosive too. My point is, okay. If you had a chance to change your type, what would you choose? I would not take that chance. But if I had to, I'd say ISTP. What does my sister simps over you even mean? What does that mean? Okay, what personalities are best at Among Us? INTJs, I think. The golds, okay. Can you rip into INFJs more? No. Which types are best at lying and manipulating? ENTPs and ENFPs, for sure. I think okay, yeah. Why am I not attracted to any of the types on your website who are my golden pair? Well, I'm not. MA456CHOZ, so it's fine. Why do we have to be attracted to celebrities? I'm not. How does an ENFJ tap into discipline to lose weight? Like, if I was attracted to like any celebrity, I might have been attracted to Megan Fox, but then like I met my wife who's like better than Megan Fox, and they're both ESTPs. So like, what do you expect? You know what I'm saying? How does an ENFJ tap into discipline to lose weight? So Amber, to do that, it's more of like you will be failing other people. You'll have to see the social responsibility and the social outcomes that will negatively impact other people if you don't. That's how you motivate yourself. Which type is the most diplomatic with ideas? Like being able to have a dialectic conversation in their mind. Oh gosh. As much as I hate to admit it, I have to say it's ENFP, Aiden. It really is ENFP. I have to give credit to especially Chris Taylor. So shout out to Chris Taylor. The man is probably the most diplomatic person I've ever met in my life, and he's extremely well suited to the job. And so Aiden, you can contact, I'm sure you could probably find him in the CSA community, but definitely definitely an ENFP and definitely Chris Taylor for sure. He's like the epitome of that. Why would an INFJ desire to get away from people who they have surrounded themselves with when they get bored of their relationships? Probably because those people are not giving the INFJ attention or gratitude. Don't appreciate the INFJ does. Probably why. What type would be the worst at marketing? Oh gosh. Oh gosh, that would be interesting. Probably an ISTJ. Which football position would you recommend for an INFP? Linebacker. Is Bill Gates an example of an INTP using affiliative science to harm mankind? Yes, Lucas Martinez. Okay. Okay. Where do you find NP females? The grocery store. Thoughts on veganism. It benefits some people, not everybody. It benefits ectomorphs the most. Keto benefits endomorphs, and like a mixture is mesomorphs. How to stop being obsessed with finding your type? Get over having TI critic, I guess, Dio. Simping equals desperate longing. Okay, so that's what that means. Oh, how can an ENTP improve their working relationship with an ISTJ? Gosh, that's a question. Oh, gosh, that's a really painful question for me too. Improve their working relationship with. They should have a good working relationship already, but the ENTP may have to expose the ISTJ a few times. But the ISTJ may have to hold the ENTP accountable for not being affiliative. They just have to respect each other's boundaries. That's really what it comes down to. It's boundaries between the affiliative versus the pragmatic mostly. And which one of them has authority over the other? That's another thing. There's too much going on for me to answer that question, Mamu. So, won't an ENTP feel guilty about lying, betraying someone's trust? Absolutely, they would, unless the person deserves it. So a man or woman that puts himself in submissive state will only get nothing in return. This okay. So a way an ENTJ and an ENTJ can work? No. A male Flifty? No. The answer is no. Okay. Why would an INTJ dwell on something they said or did, even if they acted in self-respect? Probably because their anti-hero can't let go. Have you been angry with me? No. Round Earth Society. I have not. A weird question, but have you ever dated a black girl? Yes, I have. And things were going well until I found out that she was actually married. And I was like, nope, not doing that. She kept on, I ended up rejecting her and she wouldn't give up. Okay. If an ENTP husband values his work, where he has found validation to be good enough for his parents, ugh, gosh, that's painful, at the exclusion of his personal life and health, how can an ENFJ wife best reach him with truth? That's a question. All right, so Shia Gigi, you really have to use your any critic to get your ENTP husband to understand the consequences of his actions. And you have to convey it to him in a respectful way that you will lose respect for him until he gets things, because ultimately that's what a weak man would do. And that's really painful for an ENTP to hear, but they have to hear it so that they can change. I don't know how else to say that. He needs to have self-respect. He doesn't have self-respect. Get him to read Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. That'll really help his any hero. Which type is the most to have a hard time sharing stuff with people? Merry Christmas, Chase. Well, it can be ENPs, but it can also be SJs too. But I guess technically ENPs would have the hardest time. Are structure type ESTK to view certain people as inferior people? Yes, of course they do. They can. How do I use my sensitivity to my advantage in the world as an INFJ? By practicing. Michael Jordan practiced. He's an INFJ, so practice like him, like Mike. What causes an ENFJ to be an isolated loner despite how FEA they are? If no one appreciates them, that's how. Is the unlocking of the superego a realistic goal? Yes, it is. I've been able to do it. How can an INFP find out who they truly are? By doing things that they've never done before consistently. Weird. Okay, so where do you find ISTPs on job sites, basically? So no, Megan Fox is not an ESTJ. She's not. Okay. Yes, the best mind's eye is any hero. Bunny Sam. Can ESTPs be good at school? They can be, but they usually aren't. If an INFJ is something, okay, blah blah blah. Usually it's an FE parent response. Kenobi. What type is not very sexually experienced and says they aren't and drive themselves as Mayberry in bed? I don't know what Mayberry means. Yo, Chase, how do I get ENFPs to read more? Also, thanks for taking the time to do this. Merry Christmas. You kind of have to force them to read stuff, or you question their intelligence, basically. Can ENTJs be social outcasts? They can, but usually it's because they're drug addicts. How can an INTP, how can an ISTJ deal with any inferior and ID when their parents are SI users and no one's want them? Well, getting space from your parents, please. Please do that. How do you make, well, Jen Stone, like, I think you need to go out of your way to understand the ISTJ a little bit more. Why is he suffering, and what is he perceiving that's unfair to him? You know what I mean? Which types tolerate harsh help the most? Probably super high TE users. TE parents and heroes. Okay. Alright. Which types are the most gullible? INTJs. Someone who could be taken advantage of in those dating schemes where they send money overseas. Basically, it's INTJs and INTPs are the most gullible in terms of dating. Okay. How to get my ENTP girlfriend to share some of her emotional burden so we can work it out together. So Aiden, she needs to feel trusted by you more, to the point where you kind of are a little bit indifferent to that. So Aiden, please actually read Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. That will give you some direct insights on how to solve that problem, because there's actually one chapter that actually talks about just that. And I'm sure you can find that specific chapter, but I recommend reading the entire thing. It's only 8 hours on audio. It's super quick. If SI inferior can't share well, how can they connect with others well enough to form deep enough bonds? Well, they do that by forcing themselves to share, Jen. That's how they grow. What is the biggest and most certain catastrophe bound to happen in the near future, in your opinion? War. Okay. Okay. She literally never sits still. Okay, well, she might be a starter type. She sounds like a starter type. Okay. TI critic assumption could produce problems to figure out function stat. Then FI trickster. Why would you see TI but get FITE hits? I don't understand what you're saying, Dio. Okay. Megan Fox is not an ISTP. She is an ESTP. She initiates all the time. Okay. No, Lucas Martinez. No. That is no. No, I completely reject that. Camaraderie is really important. We just haven't talked about it enough. So normal for INFJs to not have sexual experience before despite their age, like the girl in 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, that is very normal because fear of rejection and fear of performing badly. I've been watching a few Infjs. Why they're all in relationships, unwilling to leave unless they are secured in another relationship or leaving. Candace, I think you should be looking for that at not work if you can't avoid it. I think that would be preference. Okay, just want to say that the cast you feel guilt doesn't equal true kindness or helpfulness. Okay. What would be a good two-liner to pitch studying analytical psychology to someone without going into an hour-long rant? Basically, it's a question. Have you ever felt misunderstood? Yes. Would you like to feel understood for the first time in your life? Yes. Done. Where can I find NPs? They're all over the place. Doing things that they interest you. Okay. Happy holidays, Candace. Thank you for being here. You are quite loved. Why would someone have celebrity crushes in their own quadras? It's because oftentimes people identify with their celebrities. You're saying that the same quadra doesn't work in relationship, but what about Dave Powers and Shan? I think Dave Powers may actually be an ENTP. I think I probably mistyped him, honestly. So I'm actually going to do a video about that in the future, but I like also leaving him alone. So okay. How would an INTJ stuck on his ENTP shadow act? Being very chaotic and disorganized. Also binging. How can an INFJ stop believing in anything, or how do they realize they're believing something wrong? By verifying their beliefs. How to reach out to an ENFP who thinks you are bad, manipulative, and freezes you out because of it. I'm an INFJ. They make it really difficult for my TI to validate what they say. Well, ask them for evidence. How sensitive are SI nemesis? Critic, trickster. Okay, that I'm not answering that. How do I get my stubborn ENFJ male friend to believe in MBTI? You shouldn't, because the MBTI is shit. MBTI is fake news, folks. Seriously, it's way out of date. Like, get with the program. The four sides of the mind is where it's at. Is there a question you don't know the answer to, but want to know the answer to? Oh, there's tons of those, Aiden. Tons of those. But they're all private questions that I don't want to share in public. Like, it's only stuff that I talk about with, intimate partners with, and nobody else, and maybe my children, and that's about it. Okay. Okay. Who is your role model, Chase, or favorite people in history are currently alive? Oh gosh, Elijah the Prophet, John the Baptist, Jesus Christ, Socrates, Pythagoras, Malcolm X, Bruce Lee. It'd be nice to actually find somebody to learn under. Been looking for that and haven't really found that person at all. Dave Powers kind of looks like a Matt Pet. Yeah, I really think Dave Powers is actually an Intp. I mistyped him, but it's always hardest for me to type my own type. It happens, but that's why I just verify. Do you believe in democracy should be winner takes all? Democracy or republic, Lucas Martinez? What do you mean? And are you identifying the same? Who is the least traditional type? Oh gosh, INTJ. What books do you recommend to get started looking into the four sides of the mind? You can, Larissa Leonardis, you can go to csjoseph.life/reading, and you can see my bibliography there. How do you get, okay, it seems like every time I get close to an ENTP, they always back away. Why is that? Probably, Tanya, it's because they don't feel trusted by you. It's the kind of trust that you have to give them is the kind of trust where you you are basically putting your life in their hands to a point where you could actually get severely burned by them, and you're trusting them with that, and then they won't burn you. What's the love language of an ENFP? Gift giving, I think. How to quickly assess the development level of an NFP? How much they share. What is the best job for high TI users? Probably software engineering. What type is Michelle Obama? I really don't know. What kind of questions do you prefer us to ask? Not answering that question. What are some ideal jobs or careers for ENTPs and INTJs? Design and development, engineering. No idea who BJJ is, Carl. How can I get along with ENFP mom as her ISTJ daughter? Literally, Hannah, space. Just give space. And don't do the things that would piss you off to her. If I take it personally when someone disagrees with something I feel strongly about, is that FI parent or TI child? On paper, it would be FI parent compared to those. Okay. What type is most likely to have a shopping addiction? ESFP and ISFP. Gifts is most definitely the ENFP love language. Yes. All right, folks. That is it for the night. We are finished with this Q&A. Thank you very much. I finally actually caught up, but did plenty of it, and I am going to spend some time with Railgun. So I'm tired, and we've been at it like crazy. Don't forget the coaching sale that we have right now. It's 50% off. csjoseph.life/coaching. We haven't done a sale like this before. So if you guys want to get coaching and have one-on-one sessions with me to verify your type or otherwise, now's the time. It literally expires at midnight tonight. So it's your last chance. Go check that out if you want to have an opportunity at that. It's pretty awesome. Otherwise, thank you very much for being members of my audience. I really appreciate all of you, and I'm very thankful for you. And I hope that you folks continue to join me in helping change the world and make it a better place so like our children and our grandchildren actually have a future. Because as of currently, they kind of don't. So let's fix that together. So, anywho, with all that being said, folks, I'll see you guys next time. Good night.